What up? This your man Greg, and this is only for those who have ears to hear. This video is going to be rated O for obligation and onus.
Yeah, I quote the word of God because it's medicine when you hear it. I pray for ears to hear it, his messages in these lyrics.
We have to fix our communities on our own. And I always say that every man should be responsible for at least one child that's not his. I believe if every man in this room were to go back to their communities and actually try and affect it, we'd actually make some changes in our areas. We'd actually make some changes for our country instead of blaming and giving money to politicians who keep promising the same old things over and over again, and we're expecting our communities to change.
So let me know how you feel about this. Does a man have an obligation to take care of at least one kid that's not his own? I want to get a little more specific. Does a black man have a responsibility to take care of at least one kid that's not his own? Because black people do have a unique struggle in this country. Now, I'm not somebody that deals with victim mentality. I have a victory mentality, but I have to be real about the situation and understand that black people are a people that have been conquered, right? And if you're able to overcome that, you're just that, you're an overcomer. Somebody in your family and your lineage was able to do something to pull you out of that hole and to turn it around, or you yourself was able to just put forth the effort, take advantage of the opportunity that we do have in this country and advance. But there's a lot that don't. And because they don't, it means that we have a huge harvest of people that need help, youth that need good role models, good influences, resources. So is that a black man's responsibility? I call it the black man's burden. Because if you find yourself being successful and you're one of the few people that made it out of where you're from, you're the person that people are going to come to with the handout. You're the person that people are going to look to be able to solve problems in these communities. And it sometimes feels a little bit unfair, if I'm being honest with you. But I think about what empowers me to be able to do that. There are people that poured into me. There are people, and we have them in our lives. We got coaches, we got teachers that go the extra mile. We have people, I know in my life, karate, I used to take lessons Tuesdays, Saturday mornings. These people are giving up their Saturday mornings and they do work a 9-to-5 job where they could be resting, they could be recovering, they could be spending time with their own family, but they decided, you know what, I'm going to pour out into somebody else. And the way that they're expecting me to give back is not for me to give back to them because they already had it to pour into me. They want me to pour out into the next generation. So it takes somebody investing in you to be able to have the compassion and the patience and the ability to pour into somebody else. So when I was really thinking about this, because I thought about this concept way before that clip that we watched, I was thinking about the story of Nehemiah. Now, Nehemiah, he's an Israelite. He actually made it out. He had a pretty good job. He was the king's cupbearer. And the king was of a different nationality, a different ethnicity. What happens is Nehemiah gets word that his people back home are going through trouble. Their city is in rummage. You know, they've been pillaged and all of this different type of stuff has happened to them. And Nehemiah, while he could have just stayed where he was, he could have just continued being a cupbearer and no one would have said anything. He decided, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to help to rebuild my people. That's what comes to mind. I don't like putting a responsibility or an onus on anybody, but I will say, you know what, if anybody has poured into you, you should be pouring into somebody else. We don't really know how to give or show love until love has been given or shown to us. We don't know how to give or show grace until grace has been shown to us. So the challenge is that it definitely feels like it's a losing battle. You look at some of these communities, you try to help them and they'll rob you while you're trying to help them. And a lot of men see that and you say, you know what, it's a lost cause. They say, I'm taking my ball, I'm going home. I'm not going to deal with the problems. It's not my problem in the first place. I don't have an obligation to do that. It's not my responsibility. So I get it. But the guy in the video said, every man just needs to impact one. So just think if every man, every black man who has made it out, who has become successful, who has things going for him, if he just decides, I'm going to impact 1, 2, or 3, imagine what difference that can make. Now, I'll admit we're fighting a battle against a machine. Because the machine, while you're trying to build a Lauryn Hill, the machine is trying to build Sexy Red, Suki Hanas, Megan Thee Stallions. While you're trying to build a productive black man, the machine is trying to send you Lil Durk, 21 Savage, Chief Keef. So yeah, it does feel like, man, it's a monumental task. But if you look at it at a micro level, at a minimum, if I can just impact 1 or 2 individuals, imagine what type of change that can make. Imagine what that could spark. Now, the thing about it is we got a lot of folks that have resources, people in the NBA, NFL, they're moguls in these record industries. They're folks that just have a lot of resources, but we don't see it being impacted in the hood. I'm not saying they don't do anything, but what I'm saying is, man, they have enough to where we should be seeing a little more change. The problem is that there are forces in this society, whoever you want to call it, they, right? They can be the culture, the society, the government, whoever, the devil. But the point is, yes, there are people that don't want to see it. They're going to push the most degenerate stuff as long as they can. But that shouldn't stop you from doing what it is that you're called to do. At a minimum, we should be seeing these people with resources at least give positive messages, right? That doesn't even cost money, to at least say something that's positive, do something that's constructive for the next generation. But we don't see that because they're dealing with the machine. When Nehemiah went back to rebuild, he was dealing with some haters. Sanballat, I forget the other guy's name, but he was dealing with a lot of adversity because they didn't want to see him rebuild. But as men, our responsibility is to fight either way. We're going to be in a war either way. There's going to be some conflict, some battle as a man that you're going to face in your life. Even in heaven, they had a holy war where 1/3 of the angels were cast out. So I'm just saying, consider it. I like what the guy said in the video. Is it ideal? No, it's not. But we got to play the hand that we're dealt. And it's an investment for you and your future, for your children, that they'll have a better world in the long run that they can live in. So let me know your thoughts. Do you feel like, man, I do have a responsibility. I do have this onus and this obligation to reach back and to help somebody? Or do you feel like, you know what? I work for it. It's mine. I didn't create this problem, so I don't have to solve this problem. Let me know your thoughts below. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. Be blessed.
Keep fighting, keep praising, keep worshiping. The last shall be first, so it's not about who the first to win. Long as you stay in the race, when in this world of sin is light at the end of the tunnel, so you can hope again.